Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's show. My name is Christine Schiavone, and the show is Spiritual Exploration. Tonight, we're going to talk about something that every single one of us has to face. And we face it with our loved ones, and then eventually we have to face it with ourselves, and that is death and dying. It's a subject that this has a lot of spiritual meaning to it. And when we die, you know, we have to know when we die, we go somewhere, and when we go, we have to be able to be ready for it, I guess. And here with me tonight is my guest, Carolyn Oglio, Dr. Carolyn Oglio, and she's a PhD, and she is a person who is qualified to, what is your title?
I'm a grief counselor.
Grief counselor, right. She's a grief counselor, and we're going to talk about death and dying because Carolyn is an expert on this kind of thing. Hello, and welcome to the show, Carolyn.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, I'm very happy to have you here. This is a subject that I was meaning to cover for quite a few years, actually, and then you came along. And I guess it's all divinely orchestrated, where people come along and they have a certain subject they can talk about, and something I've been waiting for, actually. We all have, as I said, we experience loss. We experience losing parents, children, pets, all kinds of close people to us, friends, relatives. And I mean, I know in my family at one point in time, we had a loss every single year for 10 years. All right, it was like every time we turned around, another one of my parents' siblings were passing, or a grandparent or something, and numerous pets. And I mean, they're part of our family too. And when we lose them, we are very grief-stricken as well. I know I have been. When you have to deal with someone who has, you know, had a loss, all right, they come to you, and what is their main thing that they're really upset because they are missing the person or the pet or whatever?
Mm-hmm. The main issue, I guess, the one thing that people ask more than anything else is why. It's the big question, and, you know, why? Why did this happen? Why them? Why did it have to happen? And, you know, one of the things that you try to work through with them is that even if you knew why, you know, even if you had the answer to the question, even if it made perfect sense, it's not going to take the pain away.
Right.
Knowing why will give you something to hold on to, but you're still going to hurt and you're still going to miss them. So it's less about getting a concrete answer of why and more about finding the meaning for you. You know, you tell your story, you go on through it, and why. And you find the meaning in it, and that's what we get people to come to, hopefully.
So in other words, when they find the meaning, they could feel better and move on a little bit easier and go on with their lives and just remember the person.
Mm-hmm. And it's a meaning that resonates with you, and it changes as you grow. You know, the thing about it, it's less about why the person died, and it's more about why they were in your life to begin with.
Hey, that's very good. Yeah, why they were in your life to begin with, because everybody's in our life to begin with. But we all have contracts from the before time, and we are in each other's lives for reasons. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes, you know, people come and then sometimes they go for a reason, and they have to leave. The contract is over, whatever. Sometimes it's just because you just walk away, or because somebody passes. Mm-hmm. You know, we all experience loss, and we all experience grief, and nobody is immune to it. And you know, I think that that people have to, I guess, just accept that. When you're counseling someone, you are helping them, I guess, to move on, to get to a point where they can function like they did before.
Yeah, find a place for that person now. So many people are afraid of getting to that acceptance stage because we think that acceptance means forgetting. So I don't want to accept that they died because then I'm going to forget them. And that's not what we do. Acceptance is more about living with the permanent hole in your heart and finding a way to function in spite of that and the changes that come as a result of it. So that's what we try to help people get to learn to incorporate that person in their life without feeling like they've lost them, because you've lost them physically, but you haven't lost them. They're as far away as a memory or your heart.
And they're probably always standing right next to you because their spirit is around, and very often you can feel the spirit. You can know that they're there, that they're with you, that they're still watching over you, they're still close to you, they still love you. Because when you do pass on, the love you have, you do take it with you.
Absolutely. And that's why for a lot of people, signs are so very important. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
signs that their loved one is around them become a really important thing, because as much as you can feel their spirit around you, as much as you know that they're with you, sometimes you need that concrete reminder.
It's true.
And so for most people, at least ones that I've come across, everybody has a thing, a sign that's personally theirs, something that they equate with their loved one. And they usually find it in a time of stress or strain, or a moment when they just need that little extra boost of confidence or need to know that they're not really alone.
Yes.
And so for many people, it provides a lot of comfort.
Oh, sure. And yeah, our loved ones do leave little signs sometimes. And just today I got a sign from my friend Frank. I know it. I know it. Because I went to go and vacuum. And I usually take the cord and just kind of, you know, and stick it on the top of the vac. He always took it and strung it back. I went to get the vacuum and the cord was strung back, and I says, I know I didn't do this. I know I didn't do this. Okay, and I said, I know you're around, Frank. I says, all right. So I said, okay, I'm going to vacuum now. I'm going to put it back the way I usually do. Let me see you do it again. So maybe when I get home, we'll see what happens.
There you go. Listen, at least you have somebody who keeps you all neat and tidy and organized. That's pretty good.
Right? Well, so no, the thing with signs is absolutely true, because it does make your heart feel better to know, okay, they're still with me, they still love me. And you know, to feel that is a good thing. It really is. It does make you, I mean, I remember when Frank passed away, and I was beside myself. I cried and cried every day for a year. Then after the first year, it started to slacken off a little bit. Maybe it was every other day or so. And now it's going on 3 years, and I could now talk about him without getting all teary-eyed, although sometimes naturally I still will, because I will not forget him.
Right. Well, that's what it is. You know, it's forever.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't just end at a certain point. The thing about it is, most people who suffer a loss of any kind, everybody looks for closure.
Yes.
I want closure.
Yes.
The thing about it is, closure doesn't exist. There's no such thing. You're never going to get closure, because it's never going to be okay. It's never going to be all right that they're not with you.
Yeah.
And so many people strive for closure and then wind up making themselves worse because they feel like they don't get it. So they think that there's something wrong with them, and it sinks them deeper and deeper into their grief. Don't go for closure, because you're never going to really find it in a way that satisfies you. The most you can do is take it one day at a time and feel that person and love that person still. And that's what gets you through one day at a time.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's the truth. One day at a time. And like you said, you never really get total closure. It's always going to be, why aren't they around me? Why are they not here anymore? But time heals all wounds, as they say. So we feel a little bit better each day.
Absolutely. You know, that's the thing. Like you said, you start out crying every day, or you go to the cemetery every day. And then it's a really brave thing the first day you decide not to go, and maybe it's because it was a hectic day and it was crazy, and you know, you just couldn't make it, and you realize that the world didn't end because you didn't go to the cemetery.
Right.
And it just becomes easier, and you find other ways to incorporate them into your life. And you're always going to have your meltdown days, you know, whether it's a song on the radio or a significant day in your life. The thing about losing someone you love is every major life event for the rest of your life is bittersweet, because there's always an empty chair where they should have sat.
Right, and it doesn't matter how many years go by, you still, because like there are certain things about with my mother, and if something comes up, she's gone, it's going on 25 years, and if something comes up, like a song that she and I used to enjoy together and stuff like that, I'll still sit there and cry through the whole thing.
Absolutely.
You know, because I naturally still miss her and my father, and we're always gonna miss our loved ones and even all the pets. You know,
Oh, sure.
they're a part of our family and they're a part of our life. When they go, it's very hard too.
Absolutely, because I think what people think about is that there's some sort of hierarchy in loss. You know, this loss is worse than this loss, or this one's not as bad as that one. And the thing about it is, especially where pets are concerned, or with anyone that you lose, you don't lose a title, you lose a relationship.
Yeah.
So that pet is the same thing as losing your best friend, or maybe it's like your parent, you know, the person that made sure you got up out of bed in the morning, or your companion, your partner. So whatever relationship you have to the person you lost, that's what you're grieving.
Yes.
It's not a title, so it doesn't matter if you lost, you know, a sibling. Well, how come that's, you know, can't be as bad as losing a parent? Or it isn't. Every loss is the same because it's not about the title.
It still gets to your heart.
Yeah, it's who that person was to you. That's what you grieve.
Yes. Yeah, well, yeah, because very often when I was a child, I thought people grieve because they're crying because the person died and they're in a bad position now that they died and they're crying for them. No, you're crying for your loss, for yourself. That's what you're crying about. You're upset because you lost this person or this pet or whatever, and the tears are for you, not for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Your life changes irrevocably.
Yeah.
And that's the fear. You know, you can sit back and you can think about it logically, and they're not suffering anymore, and they're in a better place.
Yes.
And you would, logically, you would never want them here to keep them suffering.
Right.
But in the same token,
You miss them so much.
yeah. And it is for you because you now have to pick up the pieces.
Yes.
You've got to spend every day without them.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part.
Yes, yeah, you can't hear their voice anymore. They can't talk to you in person or on the telephone. But they do talk to you, like, sometimes through mediums. There are a lot of people that are very talented that can bring messages, which is a good thing.
Absolutely. Brings a lot of comfort to a lot of people who, like with the signs, need that tangible thing. Because sometimes your grief is so paralyzing that you can't hear the way their heart is still talking to yours.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need someone to look you in the eye and say it to you.
Yes.
And it helps.
Yeah. 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 So, so tell me now, what do you have a like not an organization, but you have a counseling that you do with people, and you're working with children as well?
Yes. I actually am. I run support groups for grieving children out of St. Joseph, St. Thomas Parish here.
Do you have a website or something? Or?
Yeah, you can just probably go to the parish, St. Joseph, St. Thomas Parish, and I'm the Little Angels person. But also, a colleague of mine and I are in the process of starting a grief center here on Staten Island as well. We'd like to have one place for families to go.
All right. Well, is there any way for anyone to get in touch with you if they needed to?
Yeah, I can leave you the information and.
Well, you know what? Say what
Yeah,
they
you
go
can
online. They can go to what?
Yeah, you can